Welcome back everybody, the time has come. We are looking at Dark Souls lore, at least for the bosses for Dark Souls 1. We've already played through Dark Souls 2, and I'm making my way through Dark Souls 3 at the moment, so look forward to that. But yeah, we'll begin with this lore series by ValueVidya. They're nice and short, they don't cover all the bosses. We'll be reading about some of the others, but for now, hope you enjoy, and let's get right into it.
Desperate desire to fix his mistakes. Death masks are mementos of the dead, represent.
So this does make a little bit of sense, because I was wondering why they had multiple masks, and what they represented, and more importantly why you only got one of the masks. And I do believe it's RNG which mask you get, so it's very interesting.
It's literally a constant weight upon him.
Oh wow.
Something happened to this family, and they were brought together through necromancy. The father bears the weight of his wife and his child on him.
Well, if it's one family, I have to wonder how there were so many in the Tomb of the Giants, if that's what the place was called. I forgot at this point, but there were so many.
A mother, child and father, reunited in a physical, grotesque form.
So it really just was a situation of careful what you wish for. In some ways he just wanted his family to be together again, and maybe this wasn't the best way to have that happen.
The only thing Pinwheel has managed to do so far is split itself into various forms, which are dumped and discarded at the entrance to Nito's tomb.
Oh wow.
Assumedly, Pinwheel is trying to split itself into separate beings so that the father, the mother, and the child can be properly restored as was originally intended. How close he was to fixing his mistake.
Okay, so it does explain it, but at the same time, that's gotta be just so much worse. Creating duplicates of the mistake you made to then eventually fix it. But then even if you do fix it, wouldn't that still leave the duplicates as mistakes? Or rather, I don't know if all the copies of the Pinwheel feel or share the same consciousness, or if they're separate. And, you know, at that point, you really are just recreating the mistake, like I said, but that is interesting. Right, so that's for Pinwheel. Let's move on to Black Iron Tarkus.
Tarkus falls to his death on the rafters, and is dragged into a corner by the painting guardians.
Oh no.
But his death was not in vain.
Oh, that makes sense. I was curious why that one guy was in that corner when everyone else was kind of symmetrical, or like a very similar distance apart, in almost a formation, and this guy was just in a corner, guarding this soul. Right, now we'll move on to Nito and the Undead Curse. We'll continue with some more of the bosses.
And this brings us to Nito, who was rumored to hold the right of kindling until it was stolen by Pinwheel.
Oh, Pinwheel straight up stole
entity.
it? The focus of the first game is humanity, the focus of the second is curse. Yeah, being cursed, the status effect, was more common in Dark Souls 2, within, you know, different areas, different bosses, but I'm sure this refers to the lore of Dark Souls 2. Which I haven't looked into at all, despite how much I've played through it. Maybe that's what's next.
Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself.
Ooh, hold on. That's pretty much exactly what happens at the end of the first game. I've always wondered what those little squid boys were. I did see a clip where one of them throws you into the top of its head, where it's more of a pitcher plant. Like a pitcher plant combined with the space worm. It just throws you up there. I think the only other attack it has is like an acid attack. This thing just straight up looks like something out of Dr. Seuss. Just a lot more malevolent, if not equally malevolent, because let's be honest, some of the Dr. Seuss contraptions were quite intriguing. You know, this is something I didn't do before that I really should do while I play Dark Souls 3, is actually talk to the NPCs, get through their dialogue, because aside from just buying things from them, I really don't press the talk button.
I have you, really. I have you.
Oh, it's so sad. Oh no. Oh man.
Why, you monster! The family! What have you done?
Oh wow. You know, I did always wonder, and I did notice that the servants, the ones that had whatever eggs on their back, especially in the demon area, they crawled towards you not as if to attack, more so pleading and asking for help. Not to mention, I believe they were also praying while crawling around, or, you know, had their hands together as if they were praying. But I did learn the hard way not to, in no way, put them out of their misery, because then you get a pile of very aggressive, very efficient worms that absolutely demolish you. So I just never attempted to do that again. Alright, now we'll be moving on to some written lore. Now this is on GameRant.com, so it won't be too fleshed out, it won't be too accurate, but I think I'll take it. I couldn't really find the video for specifically the lore of the bosses on YouTube, but we'll go with this for now. So, the Asylum Demon. Created by the Bit of Chaos, the Asylum Demon protects the Northern Undead Asylum. Though its purpose is still unconfirmed, it is theorized that the Asylum Demon was placed at the Asylum's exits in order to ensure that only the strongest undead can enter Lordran. Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder and ruler of Lordran, likely wanted only the strongest undead to exit the Asylum so that they could be pushed towards linking the fading First Flame. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I do have to wonder why there were two of them. You know, one to get to the First Flame, and then we had to come back for the doll. What was the second one? Unchained Demon or whatever. They say something similar about the Bell Gargoyles, where they're a test to see if you're worthy. Ceaseless Discharge. The deformed son of the Witch of Isoleth, the woman who once stood with Gwyn and Nito as they exterminated the ancient dragons. The being now known as Ceaseless Discharge was once just a small human-like boy. At birth, the boy had painful sores that oozed with a lava-like substance. Oh no. At birth? Oh jeez. His sisters, the Daughters of Chaos, gave him an orange charred ring designed to resist his fiery affliction. As the first flame began to fade, his mother attempted to start a new flame, resulting in the birth of a Chaos Flame, which deformed Isoleth's residents into demons. Ceaseless Discharge was one such resident, being transformed into a hulking, tentacle-ridden monster, whose only goal is to protect the tomb of one of his sisters. Also, the orange charred ring, I'm pretty sure you got from one of the fire centipedes. So it's interesting that the Ceaseless Discharge didn't give you the orange charred ring, but rather a centipede afterwards. Chaos Witch Quelaag, one of the few surviving Daughters of Chaos, Quelaag was also turned into a demon after her mother's Chaos Flame creation. Now half spider demon, half human-like woman, Quelaag resides at the base of Blighttown, standing guard to the ruins of Isoleth. Quelaag's domain is also situated right next to her sister, who is hidden behind an illusory wall. Many believe Quelaag's sole purpose is to protect her weaker sister. Got it. Alright, Iron Golem. Acting as the last guardian before an undead can reach Anor Londo, the Iron Golem is an empty husk originally designed as a training exercise that can be automatically rebuilt. Interesting. So kind of like Mordekaiser in League. He's just armor, except this guy can be rebuilt for the purpose of training. Kind of interesting. Orange Demon Smough. Big guy and the assassin, the little guy. Not necessarily an assassin, but he did move a lot faster. Ornstein, the captain of Gwyn's legendary elite knights, now stands guard to Princess Guinevere's royal chamber alongside Executioner Smough. During the prosperous Age of Fire, Gwyn gifted a part of his extremely powerful Lord Soul to each of his 4 elite knights, alongside a set of rings and armors that benefit each of their particular skill sets. Smough, on the other hand, was not one of Gwyn's knights, though he longed to be. Smough's ruthlessness as royal executioner and his cannibalistic tendencies made him a fearful foe even to Lord Gwyn. Ornstein and Smough now stand together as the final line of Anor Londo's defense, although it is theorized that the two could simply be part of Gwendolyn's illusions. You know, I didn't really look much into Gwendolyn, what I assume to be the princess. I kinda just talked to her, she gave me the Lord Vessel, and I got out of there. Great Grey Wolf Sif, the wolf companion to the legendary knight Artorias. Sif joined his master in his attempt to seal off the town of Ulasil from the oncoming abyss. Although the abyss was pushed back, Artorias was defeated, and Sif was left alone. Sif now sits at his master's grave, ensuring that others cannot meet the same fate by preventing them from claiming the covenant of Artorias' ring and using it to traverse the abyss. Wow. So I was kind of right when I said, you know, it seemed Doggo was protecting the grave, but more so protecting whoever was there by trying to fend them off, trying to fight them off, scare them off. I'm not sure what happens in the Abyss, or what happened to Artorias. Maybe I have to look into that, but would killing them not be the same as having them go to the Abyss to die there? Because Doggo, as much as he was defending the ring, was pretty aggressive, and he hurt a lot. And I'm sure Doggo would easily destroy anyone that wasn't prepared. Alright, the Four Kings. Handpicked by Gwyn to lead the prosperous city of New Londo, these four human brothers decided to rule together, but as all humans are, the Four Kings were particularly susceptible to the call of the Abyss. Following a visit from Darkstalker, Cad, how do you say that name? We'll call him Keith. Following a visit from Darkstalker Keith, a primordial serpent obsessed with the Abyss and ushering in a new age of dark, the Four Kings were tempted and became lost to the Abyss. In order to seal off the Abyss, New Londo was flooded, with much of its citizens still inside. That makes sense why you had to lower the water level before proceeding. Alright, Seath the Scaleless. Once a member of the ancient dragons, Seath was born without scales, and was considered an outcast by the rest of his race. With little reason to stay loyal to his own people, Seath betrayed the dragons and sided with Lord Gwyn during the war. Gwyn awarded his actions by granting him the title of Duke, and gifting him a portion of his lord's soul. Seath spent the rest of his life researching crystal magic. Oh, got a scholar here. Scholar Dragon, from his archive in an attempt to become immortal. I mean, to be fair, I do believe in a lot of fiction where dragons are a thing. They are shown to be wise and very, very much fond of knowledge. And as a matter of fact, I don't know where I remember this from, or where I got this from, but I think I remember it was a dragon that hoarded books rather than gold, because that was more valuable to it. I know that was a thing from somewhere, I just don't remember where. Perhaps feeling vulnerable due to his lack of impenetrable scales. Over the years, Seath becomes more and more frantic, sending his serpent's guards to kidnap women from across the land. Whoa. Whom he'd use as test subjects in his experiments. What the heck? Why women specifically? What? Messed up. Taurus Demon, created when the Witch of Isolith disastrously attempted to create her own first flame. Taurus Demon is considered a lesser demon, being one of the weakest of its kind. Being located in the Undead Burg, the Taurus Demon is quite far from its home of Isolith. Though the exact reason for its appearance in the Undead Burg isn't known, it has been speculated that the Taurus Demon was sent on some mission by the Bed of Chaos to take back the burg from its human settlers, but has gone hollow in the process. This could explain the appearance of a Black Knight stationed near the Demon's Fog Gateway, as these warriors fought the demons years prior at the request of Gwyn. Now here we have Taurus Demon and Capra Demon. I do have to wonder if there were other references to the horoscopes, and if not, why was only Capricorn and Taurus referenced? Because I myself am a Capricorn, but it is curious why they only referenced these two, when they could have gotten away with the entire horoscope line. Capra Demon, created in the same disaster as the Taurus Demon, the Capra Demon can be found in the lower area of the Undead Burg. His presence here could hint that he accompanied the Taurus Demon, or could imply that he was sent to rescue the Taurus Demon from his eventual hollowing. Interesting. But more importantly, why are there multiple copies of these guys? If I remember correctly, when the Witch of Isolith created the Bed of Chaos or whatever, transformed all the citizens, and that's why there's multiple Taurus demons and multiple Capra demons. I do have to wonder what separates them, or what prerequisites are needed to become either a Capra demon or Taurus demon, because I believe they were just citizens that got transformed. The Stray Demon. Residing underneath the entrance of the Undead Asylum, the Stray Demon would only engage the chosen undead upon their return to the asylum. After the building's guard, the Asylum Demon has been killed. As there is no way out of the arena he fights in, it is likely the Stray Demon was a prisoner in this asylum, with his name perhaps suggesting that he betrayed his kind in some way. Alright, the Gaping Dragon. Funny enough, I thought this was gonna be... When I saw this, at first I was like, oh, is it like a snake thing? Then I saw these, and I was like, oh, it's a gator. Then I saw the rest of it, and it was like, oh my gosh. The Gaping Dragon is one of the last of its kind, being a very distant relative of the ancient everlasting dragons that once inhabited the planet alone. With the appearance of the First Flame, and the rise of humanity, the dragons were all but wiped out, decimated by Gwyn's lightning, the Witch of Isolith's fire, and Nito's plagues. Though the Gaping Dragon is a descendant of the original dragons, it has become transformed, now resembling very little of what it once was. With the rise of humanity, the Gaping Dragon would succumb to its greed and new feelings of desire, eventually transforming into an abomination, perhaps tainted by the powers of the Abyss. The Moonlight Butterfly. I forget if these were a thing in Dark Souls 2, but there were butterflies that kind of dispersed poison. I don't think they were called Moonlight Butterfly though. Okay, I checked, they were called Poison Butterflies, so kinda close. The Moonlight Butterfly was one of Seath the Scaleless' first creations, imbued with the power of crystal magic. Oh, that makes sense. The Moonlight Butterfly can be found in Darkroot Garden, floating above the ancient ruins. It's widely believed that the Moonlight Butterfly was sent by Seath to patrol the garden in an attempt to keep Havel the Rock inside his tower cell. Was that his name? Havel the Rock, which can be found nearby. Interesting. Expressing a deep hatred for Seath and his brutal practices in the name of research, Havel began to grow more and more distrustful of magic and those who wield it. As Seath was pivotal in the war against dragons betraying his own kind, Gwyn protected him despite the dragon flaunting his newfound power in vile ways. Havel, once one of Gwyn's most trusted knights, turned his back on the Lord of Cinder and founded the Occult, a group created to hunt untrustworthy magic users. But before Havel could enact his plan to march on the Duke's archives and kill Seath, Gwyn imprisoned the knight, leaving him to go hollow. Oh wow. Dark Sun Gwendolyn. I don't think I fought this person. Oh no, did I actually miss a boss? Well, I missed a couple bosses, dang. The youngest of Gwyn's children, Gwendolyn is now the only god left in Anor Londo. Though born male, Gwendolyn was raised female by their parents, with Gwyn leaving to sacrifice himself atop the first flame in an attempt to prolong the Age of Fire, and Guinevere leaving Anor Londo to marry the flame god Flan. Gwendolyn is left alone to protect Anor Londo against would-be invaders. When the chosen undead arrives in Anor Londo, Gwendolyn uses conjuration magic to produce illusions of their sister Guinevere and the other protectors and knights of the main palace. Gwendolyn's new purpose in this world is to execute those who have sinned against humanity, using the Blade of the Dark Moon Covenant to enforce their ways. Crossbreed Priscilla. What a name. I do remember she went invisible and then just never became visible again. Priscilla is a crossbreed of an unknown being, probably a god or other powerful humanoid, and a dragon. A dragon? From where? Considered an abomination by society and feared by Gwyn and the other gods due to her powers of life hunt, Priscilla was cast into the painted world of Ariamis. Although the gods believe that Priscilla was trapped in the painting, she can in fact escape, but chooses to stay in this pocket world as she deems it as peaceful. Alright, she's just chilling. She's like, alright, they don't like me, I can just vibe in here. Demon Firesage. This was part 2 of the Asylum Demon. Originally one of Izalith's most talented pyromancers, being beaten out by only the Witch of Izalith and her daughters, the Firesage was among the first to be transformed into a demon, soon followed by the rest of Izalith's inhabitants. Now the Demon Firesage guards one of the entrances to the demon ruins where Izalith once stood. Centipede Demon. Right, this was the one that had the orange charred ring. Before being transformed into a grotesque monster, Ceaseless Discharge was once a child of the Witch of Izalith who suffered from sores that seeped with lava. To help ease his pain, his sisters, the Daughters of Chaos, gave him an orange charred ring. One day the boy dropped his ring into the lava, the reaction eventually creating the Centipede Demon. Oh, that makes sense. That does answer my question of why Ceaseless Discharge did not give the orange charred ring. Alright, and that'll be all for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be looking at more lore once I complete Dark Souls 3, but until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.